Hello, a warm welcome to you all. I am Samantha, one of the behavioral therapists here at City of Hope, Chicago. I'm also a cancer survivor, and I am here to help you build your very own Coping Through Cancer toolbox. As you may know, we are built with a multitude of emotions, and there's a reason for that. We need our emotions. Regulating emotions can be kind of tricky sometimes. So that can be for a lot of different reasons too. It could be lack of skill. Maybe we were never taught how to regulate emotions. Maybe we don't talk about our emotions in our family. Moodiness, ruminations or worrying. It could be myths about emotions. And biology can affect changing emotions too. Emotions are complex responses, right? So a sight, a smell, a sound, a feeling triggers a response in our body that creates a physical change. That urges our response to whatever stimuli is out there. Any change in one part of that system can change the whole outcome, which is why it is so important to address, acknowledge, name our emotions so we can better move with them. So what do emotions do for you? Our emotions motivate our behavior. They prepare us for action. So think fight, flight, freeze. If you think back to the days of our ancestors living in the wilderness, sometimes they didn't have a moment to think about something. They had to run from a predator or protect from imminent danger. So that's where our emotions play a role into urging our behaviors. Now we can face really stressful situations that are overwhelming in our present day lives that can have much of that same emotional response. So it can be hard to overcome those obstacles. Emotions communicate to those around us and ourselves. So the bigger the emotion, the stronger the belief that the emotion is based on fact. Think of emotion as a balloon, right? So if it gets too big, that balloon can take up the whole space that we can see in front of us. So we're not able to see the other stuff that's going on around us. We can't see past this balloon of emotion. It's too big. This can be trouble if our emotions get us to ignore the facts and use emotions to justify our thoughts or feelings or actions, rather. What makes it hard to regulate your emotions? We talked about some of those before, like your biology, lack of skill, when you don't know what to do to regulate your emotions. Maybe this isn't something you're used to. There are many different ways to regulate emotions. It could be running, it could be arts, it could be walks, it could be simple things. Some of the other ways it makes regulating emotions difficult is reinforcement of emotional behavior. So if we think about a child that's throwing a tantrum and we give that child a sucker, they may start connecting, oh, I throw a tantrum, I get a sucker. Therefore, you're reinforcing some of that emotional behavior. It might take some time, but you think in your own lives if there are any reinforcements to certain behaviors. When current moods control what you do instead of putting in the time and effort to regulate emotions, that can get in the way. It is easier just to fly off the handle if I'm feeling upset. Absolutely. Now there might be outcomes of me doing that, but in the moment, it does feel easier to just kind of like let all that stress out. So if we're not willing to put in the time and effort to really work on regulating our emotions, that can absolutely get in our way. High emotional arousal. So that I think of a low stress tolerance. If we're experiencing a lot of stress, everyone's stress level is different. And so if I drop my pen on the floor and I punch a wall, that's a little bit intense, right? So I might need to work on that. And if I have that intense arousal, that could be something that might be assisted with medication, but recognizing that in yourself and then integrating some coping skills into your life is going to be really helpful. And myths about emotions. So sometimes we hear that emotions are bad or weak. We have to be strong. Well, being strong means being able to manage your emotions. Emotions aren't good or bad. We are built with them as humans for a reason, and they just are. They just are what they are. The extreme emotions, that can get in the way sometimes. If we're having extreme reactions, extreme emotional reactions, and that could even be detachment, like extremely shutting people out of our life if they made a mistake. Those kinds of things, that can actually hurt our own goals for our own life, and be a barrier to the things that we want. So being aware of that is really important. Another myth that I hear about emotions is that extreme emotions are just part of who I am. They make me who I am. Well, yes, your emotions are unique to yourself. The extreme emotions, those can actually act as barriers between you and others in the world. Today's skill is going to help us manage during those elevated moments of emotional response by using our senses to reconnect to the present moment. Many of you may have seen in movies where a character splashes cold water on their face to bring them back to reality from whatever they were experiencing. There's actually some truth to that. Changing your body chemistry can reduce the extreme emotional mind, and some clinicians refer to a part of this skill as TIP. They call it a TIP skill. TIP stands for tip the temperature, intense exercise, paced breathing, or paired muscle relaxation. Today, we are discussing the T in the TIP skill, which is tip the temperature. So you could do this at home by getting a bowl of cold water. You will want to hold your breath and put your face in the bowl of water for 30 seconds or however long you are able to. This acts to ignite a dive response in your body. And so the dive response basically tells your body that it needs to reserve its blood flow to specific organs like your brain and your heart. And those are the two most important organs for managing our emotional response. So keep in mind when you do any of these skills that use cold, you may want to consult your physician if you are either allergic to cold, you have heart conditions, or other health conditions. If you use this part of the skill at home with a bowl of cold water, it may take 15 to 30 seconds for your body to actually kick in that dive response. And sometimes we don't have access to a bowl of water or have time to put our face in a bowl of water if we're feeling nervous at a doctor's office, which is okay. That's why I have a little ice pack with me. So these are great to store in your freezer. You could use a bag of beans, anything that's frozen from your freezer, and do the same thing. You could hold it in your hands. You can put it on your face for that 30 seconds. You can also put it on the back of your neck if you're ever feeling hot, like maybe a panic attack situation. I like these too because even when they're not cold, I can play with them like Orbeez. That's kind of soothing. Another option is you could go to a store like Walgreens and get one of those ready to go ice packs where you break it and shake the fluid inside and then it becomes cold. Those are easy enough to just store in your bag and bring along with you to any anticipated appointments or situations where you feel you might need to use this tip skill. So with any new skill, I like to say it's similar to learning a new sport. If it's not something you've practiced your whole life, it's gonna feel a little bit awkward maybe at first. Not every skill is meant for every person, but you won't know until you give it a good effort. So I don't play basketball. I'm not gonna be an all-star if you throw me in a basketball match right now, but I could get better if I practiced every day. Same thing with your coping skills. So you're not going to pull this coping skill out of your pocket if you're in a really heightened state of emotion. This is something that you're going to have to get used to so it's easier to reference in any of those times of distress. So I would say practice 30 seconds a day when you feel most ready for it. Maybe you'll want to grab your ice pack in the morning to wake yourself up and just hold whatever cold compress on your face for 30 seconds. Try holding your breath along with it. That's really going to activate that dive response in your body and promote that blood flow to go to your heart and brain. Beyond that, you could hold it in your hands, put it on the back of your neck. You could also try pairing it with a habit you already do. Like, this is called habit stacking. So I brush my teeth every day. I hope you do too. When you brush your teeth, maybe that's when you splash the cold water on your face each day. Okay, so in the morning, after I brush my teeth, that's when I'm going to dip my face in cold water or use an ice pack. That way it's paired with something you're already doing and it won't seem as much of a new thing. 30 seconds a day. Give these skills a try. Thank you for joining us for this little mini course. We're going to have a lot of other mini courses to come for other skills that you can practice.